Come of the hour, come of the man. Max Verstappen just delivered one of the most crucial qualifying laps so far of the season. The difference between Oscar Piastri in P2 and Max Verstappen was 10 times faster than this blink. Incredible. I don't know if you guys can see that, but this is incredible. These guys are competing at the ultimate level. Let's talk about what happened, guys. So let's break down the top 10 from the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen P1, Oscar Piastri P2, George Russell P3, and it ultimately did an absolute beauty of a lap. Charles Leclerc P4, Kimi Antonelli P5, Carlos Sainz in a Williams gets it P6, ahead of Lewis Hamilton in a Ferrari in P7. P8, we have Yuki Tsunoda. P9, Pierre Gasly. And P10, unfortunately, after suffering a huge crash at the beginning of the start of Q3, Lando Norris. That's right, Lando Norris will start the race in P10. There's just so much to talk about. Right, Max Verstappen, what a lap by Max Verstappen. Every week, this guy manages to pull it out of the bag. Obviously, last week it was a disaster for Red Bull, and it was absolutely... Everyone was saying Max Verstappen's leaving. It was woeful. If this has saved Christian Horner, well, effectively saved Red Bull season, potentially. There was rumours that Max was actually going to leave during the season. There's been speculation after speculation. This has helped Christian Horner probably sleep well tonight, knowing that actually the car is still good, and yes, it is Max out delivering. And you could see why a lot of teams want Max Verstappen. If Max is able to do this in a Red Bull, which has been proven to be difficult to drive, imagine what he could do in a Mercedes, or in a McLaren, or even in a Ferrari. Solid performance on Oscar, and yes, he'll probably be gutted that he didn't actually get P1. The McLaren has shown pace all weekend, and it looked like he seemed to struggle towards the end of it. Maybe he's seen what happened to Lando and didn't want to push himself too much in case a similar thing happened. George Russell, P3. What a performance from George Russell. George Russell is driving incredibly well this year. He's actually starting to become one of my favourite drivers. Look, seriously, he's actually starting to become one of my favourite drivers. That's how much I rate George Russell. There's all this contract talk going on. There's all this Max Verstappen talk going on. And he's gone, do you know what? I don't care, because I'm just going to deliver week in, week out. And that is what George Russell is doing. So fair play to George Russell. Charles Leclerc, again, another good performance. P4, yes, probably where the car should be based on this weekend. Kimi Antonelli, P5, absolute solid performance from Kimi. Who can dislike this kid? This kid is brilliant. He's always very polite, very well spoken. He drives hard, and all he wants to do is do racing. But he has got some schoolwork and homework that he should be doing after qualifying later today. Carlos Sainz put it P6. Oh, mate, if you're Lewis Hamilton, how do you feel? How do you feel? Carlos Sainz is proving that, you know, he's never lost it. He is still the smooth operator. What a performance from Carlos Sainz. And actually, massive shout out to Williams. This must be so good for the team. Lewis Hamilton. Where do we start with Lewis Hamilton? I do not know. I really don't know. He said last weekend that he thinks he works out the tweaks that he needs to make to the car, etc. The next weekend's going to be much bit different. Comes to this track, and yes, this track is all related to driver confidence. Something that Lewis lacks, and something that he probably lacked last year as well, and he didn't admit it. Is this literally just Father Time catching up with him? And now maybe he's more conscious that actually, no, I don't feel like sending it 180 miles an hour around the corner. You know, common sense would tell you maybe that's not a good idea. And that's why these Formula One drivers are absolutely crazy, because they'll do things that no one else would really want to do in a car. P8, Yuki Tsunoda. When was the last time Red Bulls had this? Two cars even getting into Q3. Incredible. Well done to Yuki Tsunoda. Confidence is growing. And that's P9 for Pierre Gasly. And do you know what? The Alpine has looked rapid all weekend. It turns out they just had their engines higher than everyone else. Who figured? Lando, oh mate, what do we do about Lando Norris? Literally, full credit to him. He's pushing it, right? He's pushing the car to the limits. Probably went a bit beyond that limit. He's having to drive outside of his comfort zone, right, to match Oscar. This is what we're seeing. He's pushing himself, and unfortunately, it didn't play out today. Obviously, in a load of different tracks, he would have survived it, and there wouldn't have been a wall right immediately there, and he probably could have saved the car. But yeah, disappointing for Lando Norris. Going to be difficult tomorrow in the race. However, starting from P10, chances of there going to be a safety car. If he starts on the hard, he might get a chance to actually creep up in the race. But we'll see. We'll see. Guys, who impressed you the most in qualifying? Drop your thoughts below. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts.